Jerome Donkey Boon is a feared figure in South Africa's underworld. However, his story is not limited to crime and violence. Boon, who gained attention from a young age for his success in rugby, later stepped into the dark corners of Cape Town and fell into the grip of crime and violence. This story is not just the life of a gangster, but also a reflection of a decaying societal structure and the individuals lost within it. Boon's life holds both the bright days of his sports career and the dark secrets of the underworld. While still young, Boon showed promise as a rugby player, but later he lived a peaceful life as a building inspector for 20 years in Cape Town. However, in the 1990s, Jerome and his brothers Michael and Colin Boon rose to prominence as leaders of the infamous Sexy Boys gang in Cape Flats, marking a dramatic change in his life. Since then, Boon's name has been synonymous with the underworld, becoming connected to many high-profile events. In addition to surviving numerous assassination attempts, Boon is linked to various crimes, including drug trafficking and murder. Behind his tough exterior, Boon also had a business side, having made real estate deals with the late Mark Lifman. Additionally, his relationships with other underworld figures like the late Yuri the Russian further expanded his reputation. In the 2000s, a fierce conflict arose between Cyril Beeka and Yuri the Russian, with the two becoming bitter enemies. Beeka's reign, however, didn't last long, as his greed led to his downfall. Around 1999, Beeka was forced to flee Cape Town and relocate to Johannesburg, while his right-hand man, Jacques Cronje, found refuge in Durban, making both of them unwanted figures in Cape Town. Julian Nietzsche rose to prominence in the gang until Yuri the Russian was killed in May 2007. Yuri the Russian Ulyanitsky and his young daughter were murdered in a drive-by shooting. At the same time, Mark Lifman, a well-known clean-faced figure from Sea Point, began rising. Through Jerome Donkey Boon, Lifman unexpectedly formed an association with the Sexy Boys gang. As a real estate mogul, Lifman bought industrial properties in areas like Delft and Belhar. According to police reports, Boon bought these properties to use them as drug distribution points. However, when authorities started seizing these properties, the Sexy Boys adapted their operations. Lifman was believed to be acting as a front to secure industrial properties for the gang's abalone trade and large-scale drug production. This revealed that Lifman's wealth was built on the activities of the Sexy Boys, and he owed his success to them. In 2010, Cyril Beeka tried to return to Cape Town and reclaim his position, but the landscape had drastically changed. Beeka, driving in a 444 BMW at around 5 p.m. local time, was shot at by two motorcyclists. Initially thought to be an accident, it was later determined to be a shooting after authorities found bullet holes on the side of his vehicle. Police confirmed that Beeka's driver, Eddie Beeka, had been shot in the chest, but offered no further details. Emergency services later reported that Cyril Beeka had been shot in the head, was in critical condition when arriving at the hospital, and passed away. The perpetrators were never identified, but it's suspected that his falling out with his Czech associate, Radovan Krejcir, played a role. Following Beeka's murder, tensions remained high. During this time, gang conflicts and interactions with the police became increasingly complex. Boon's name became more and more tied to criminal activities. In 2017, Jerome Boon survived a series of assassination attempts. On May 8th, he was wounded in the neck during an attack in Ravensmead. On September 13th, 23 bullets were fired at his car in Belleville South. The use of stolen police firearms in these attacks raised concerns about corruption within the police force. In October 2017, two people were killed in an attack at a nightclub in Stellenbosch. It was believed that this attack was either retaliation against Boon or related to ongoing gang wars. Once again, Boon survived these assassination attempts, further strengthening his reputation in the criminal world and continuing to create fear in the local population. Within the underworld, gang rivalries were not only about power and control, but also part of their way of life. Boon and his gang constantly fought to ensure their survival and superiority over rivals. This battle continued not just through physical confrontations, but through strategic moves. In Cape Town's different areas, deals and betrayals among gangs were disrupting the daily lives of the community. While young people were often drawn to this lifestyle, the results were usually destructive. Boon's story reveals the dark truths hidden behind the appeal of gang life. Between 2018 and 2020, Jerome Donkey Boon faced numerous assassination attempts. On August 1, 2018, he was shot in the arm during an attack at a family restaurant, and one of the attackers was killed. On December 28, 2020, he was targeted again during a funeral in Durbanville Memorial Park. Despite the dramatic attack, no one was injured. In 2023, Boon's son, Joel, narrowly survived two separate shootings, once again highlighting the family's deep involvement in violent underground conflicts. On November 3, 2024, Mark Lifman was killed in an ambush at the Garden Route Mall in George. Long involved with organized crime, Lifman's death raised questions about how someone typically surrounded by security could become so vulnerable. Mark Lifman was controversially connected to Cape Town's nightclub security industry and organized crime. He was also implicated in the 2017 murder of Brian Weinstein, the steroid king. Lifman was scheduled to face court on November 4, 2024, related to the case. Jerome Donkey Boon paid his respects at Lifman's funeral. The two were frequent faces in court trials. Lifman's death amplified the already high level of violence in Cape Town's underworld, with everyone staying on alert. Women, though typically in the shadow of men, play an essential role within gangs. In Boon's life, women had a significant influence on his decisions and actions. They were used at times to balance the internal power dynamics, but they also sought ways to escape from the gang life. Boon's story shows that it is not just a man's story, but that women are also integral parts of this complex system. Boon's life offers some of the best examples life can teach. His story unveils how a society's fabric deteriorates and how individuals are impacted. Gang life affects not only individuals, but families and entire communities. Problems like drug addiction, violence, and poverty are inevitable outcomes of this lifestyle. In the tough neighborhoods of Cape Town, young people are drawn into the allure of gangs and begin their journey into this world. Figures like Boon serve as both role models and warnings to these youth. The power and wealth gained in the criminal world usually have severe consequences, wrecking lives. Boon's life is also a reflection of the search for identity and a sense of belonging. His story explains how young people are drawn into such environments and the inner conflict that follows. The temporary successes and material rewards offered by gang life lead to long-term and destructive impacts on individuals' mental and physical health. Boon's story highlights not only how South Africa's social and economic challenges shape individuals' lives, but it also offers clues on how society might cope with them. Boon's life is like a mirror to the complexity, conflict, and transformation of an era and society. These stories help expose deeply buried issues while offering opportunities to understand how individuals and communities confront them. In conclusion, Boon's life is not just a tale of crime, but also a profound study of human nature's darker sides, societal injustices, and individual survival. His life is both a warning and a call for social change. For more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned.